The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My friends, Faust, Daniel Webster, Johnny the Fiddler. Now, what do all three of these men have in common? Well, they all made deals with the devil. Their stories are told on the stage of Wagner's opera, in the pages of colonial American literature, and in the ballad by the Charlie Daniels Band. Now, in each case, the story is similar. The devil approaches the individual and offers them an immediate fulfillment of their wildest dreams. Ambition, fame, fortune, wealth, power. But there's a catch. In the end, they must give their soul to the devil when they die. Not a good deal, right? Now, Jesus said it best. What profits a person if they gain the whole world and lose their soul in the process? You know, Jesus himself experienced this negotiation with the devil in today's gospel story. And in this experience, we find and learn a crucial lesson when it comes to dealing with all of life's temptations and how they affect us and the church. You see, the bottom line was that Jesus resisted the temptation of the devil. He resisted the shortcuts, the easier way out, rather than to succumb to the devil's temptations. I guess the important question is, can we do the same? Now let's look briefly at each of these temptations of Jesus. The first test was a temptation to be relevant. Turn these stones into bread. Sounds innocent enough, doesn't it? After all, Jesus was hungry after fasting for 40 days in the desert, and Satan wanted to exploit his physical needs to catch him in a moment of weakness. Feeding the hungry is important. But Jesus' calling was on a higher level. The calling was to feed the soul, not just feed the body. Jesus resisted the shortcut to that temptation. Now, the church feeds the hungry, but so does the United Way. The difference is this: when the church feeds the hungry, she does so in order to demonstrate the love and presence of God, who alone can feed the hungry soul. Now, the second test was to be powerful, to be overwhelming. The whole world can be yours, just do it my way. Now, this is the temptation to think that the end justifies the means, but again, Jesus knew better. Jesus took the longer, more difficult road to Calvary. In the end, power only forces compliance. Power never evokes love. We cannot convert the world by the sword or the dollar or through government process. The only way to convert the world is through the love of Jesus. Finally, the third test was to be spectacular, to be entertaining. Now, this temptation also seemed harmless at first. Jump off the top of the temple and land as light as a butterfly, because the angels will guard you. Now, that trick would draw a crowd every time, but Jesus didn't come to draw a crowd. Jesus came to convert a crowd. I wonder if the church really understands this. You know, we are tempted to put on the biggest show on earth, to win people by the sheer amazement and entertainment. Now, if last year's nativity production featured live animals, then next year's must feature flying angels. And what will we do the year after that to keep up the entertainment for the people? You see, this type of escalation ultimately leads nowhere. but to failure. Today, God invites us to trust the power of sacrificial love to draw a lost world into a love affair with Him. Isn't it ultimately the power of God's love that drew us to the church in the first place and holds us still in the church? Let us trust that power, just as Jesus did.